Hello. Good morning, afternoon, or evening. Welcome back to the channel once again. And if it's the first time here, my name is Gigo, and today we are back at the Pram Pram project, where in our previous episode we started with the plastering work, of this 7 bedroom house that we are putting up here in Pram Pram, right? So in my previous episode, we touched on a lot of subjects. So, coming episodes, we will be breaking some of them down so that, we look at how best we can also build our dream house, right, without no stress. That is my thing here on YouTube. I know what people go through. I know how it is to build, your dream house, and I don't want people to go through that kind of stress, right? That's why I'm trying to use my project as an example and see ways of how we can cut down costs and also reduce that stress and pressure, right? Especially for those that are living in the West, because that's the situation in which we are all in now, right? So one thing that we did touch about was, the main subject was, why are we building in Ghana, right? Do we actually need the structures, the homes, the house that we are building? Do we actually need them now, right? Or do we actually need the size, right, of the structures that we are putting up? Because sometimes people just want to build a house and to make a statement, they just want a bigger structure, right? But later on, they realize that they actually don't need all of those space, right? So, it is all about what you go through to put out those structures. You have to find a way to just get it done simple. Most of us, we buy one plot, right? We can do a lot on one plot. This house you see now is sitting, the ground which is sitting on is it is 57 feet by 40 feet. That's what the structure is sitting on, 57 feet by 40 feet. So meaning that if you have a full plot, this house can just sit on it, and you even have enough space around it, right? So you can also look in the way where I always say this, that planning is one thing which is very important in your structure, right? That's why I always say that your architecture, when you want to start with your dream house, the architect plays a major role, right? Don't just tell the architect what you want. Let the architect go to the site, take a measurement, and try as much as possible to kind of have some guest house, right, which will be next to the main house. It can be a chamber and hall, right, but with a beautiful design, maybe some high ceilings and all that you can use in the future, right? And I would say that use that as your first project. Go through the building process, learn some of the things, right? So that when you start with your main project, you have an idea, the some stages in construction, and also how much it will cost you. Because actually, when you put out those small structures, you get to understand how much money is needed into construction. Then you can make a firm decision, right? So the architect plays a major role. The architect can at least guide you to actually know how much it will cost you, because with that small structure, if you do your burglar bars, your windows, your painting, POP and everything, you feel it, right? You know how much you spent, and that can help you to make a firm decision based on your main project, rather than starting something big that you had no idea of, right? So we always start with the big house and then before the small house, but I'm saying we should start with the small house. So that was one tip that we share in that episode. And it doesn't mean that that house can go to waste, right? That can be your guest house. Instead of having guest house inside of your house, you can use that for guests that you actually don't want them to be in your space, in your family space. Trust me, one plot can do a lot if you position the house very well, right? If you do that, one plot is enough. So it is not just a waste, right? So that was the first tip. Then the second tip is about how to reduce cost, and also materials. With materials, I would say it is all about wood, because you cannot reduce the cement, the sand, the stones, all of those things you cannot reduce. Some of the things you can reduce is maybe the wood, right? Instead of buying a whole lot of wood for your project, I mean, if you want to rent some wood, FO is there for your decking. FO can rent you some of this wood. He also have this for the scaffold. So what we did was like shifting, right? So we went around the whole structure, but what we do is that it takes FO 1 day to mount the scaffold and break them down, right? So whilst FO is busy mounting the scaffold, we have the masons. We are doing the plastering at a level where they can stand to do the plastering. And then when FO is done, they come to use the scaffold the next day. FO takes a break, and then the following day, FO comes to take it down, go to the next, because we don't have the money to get all the scaffold. So the scaffold you see now is what we use for the whole structure, which took us, I mean, I would say 2 weeks, right? But later on, the guys did some dressing, and that, I mean, went into the taking the time, right? So that's why I would say it takes like 2.5 weeks to get it done, right? So after the plastering was done, it was time for Mr. Kwete to come, and I mean, he is going to help us to do the septic tank, right, which we normally call the manhole here. I mean, with the support of FO. FO has been, very helpful with this particular project when it comes to planning and, I mean, managing some of the things with this project. So big ups to FO, right? So, I mean, Mr. Kwete is our supplier here at Gigo Production Group. I mean, if you are building around Dowenya, Chopoli, Afienya, Dawa, I mean, some part of Accra, some of the deliveries goes there. But I mean, if you are building at the main Ningo Prampram district, right? If you look at your site plan and it stays Ningo Prampram district, trust me, Mr. Kwete is your guy when it comes to building materials. Also, when you want to do excavation, for your foundation, anything you want to do, Mr. Kwete has the machines for you. So please get in touch with Mr. Kwete when you need building materials, blocks and all of that. I mean, this guy has been amazing on this channel for all these years, and most of the projects you see, he is the supplier behind it. So if you are building around, the Ningo Pampam district, please, Mr. Kwete is your guy, right? So back to the video. The reason why I wanted to do the septic tank, right? I mean, we wanted to do the biodigester, right? Because we didn't have enough space to actually do this, right? The land you see in front of the house is actually not for us, right? I mean, it belongs to one of my uncles. But I mean, with the way things went, with the land division and stuff, I mean, it has made things complicated. And like I told you, this land was left for almost like 40 to 50 years, right? Nobody was there. So you have people coming to encroach it and all that. But I mean, these are subjects and things that we have to talk about later. So as it stands now, we have to use what we have. And that is the little space which is between the house and then the next neighbor, which I would say my uncle, who, I mean, when he comes in the future to also build his project, he has space to do that. So another reason why I didn't go with the biodigester, which would have been more easy, right, to do it, was because I'm not in the country, right? I'm not in control of what people do in the washroom. And with the biodigester, I mean, it has so many rules and things that you have to follow. And I mean, if I am staying there with my family and stuff, then I know that I can control and make sure that everybody does what is needful. But since I'm not there and I am also planning to use this project as an investment in the future, I didn't want to take the risks, right, of preventing people from putting the toilet roll into the wash into I would say the toilet, not using some of the detergent and all that. I didn't want to do that because I don't want to control people, how they do their things. So I decided to just go with the septic tank straight forward. And this is the space. I mean, it was scary though. It was scary because if you can see, we have a fine sand, right? We're in Pampram, and I mean this land has a lot of sand. I mean later on we find clay underneath, but I mean I think we went like the total feet was the target was 10 feet. We actually got a 10 feet, right? It was 10 feet by 9, I think. We got it, but later on, the ground started breaking in started breaking in, and I mean it got so close to the structure. I mean it wasn't fun, right? And this happened when we were done with the excavation, and then the truck went away, right? That's when all of the panic started, right? I mean it wasn't easy that day. So I mean you will see what I'm trying to talk about, right? So one advantage of doing this septic tank was the amount of sand we got from the excavation, right? So when we started, I think the first 3 feet was fine sand. I mean, was sand that we could even use for plastering, right? And this is some of the plus you get, right, in construction when you have a very good ground. Some of this you can get some fine sand for your construction. But I mean, later on, getting to the fifth, sixth, and the seventh feet, we got clay, right? And then I mean, we didn't have the time to separate both of them. So because of time and everything, so we ended up mixing, you know, both the clay and the sand, and we cannot use it for construction. For the plastering, right? I mean, which is most of the work which has to be done with this structure. So we ended up, using it to do the landscaping. So we decided we're going to use it to fill the compound because it also has a gentle slope. So I mean, we decided to use that for the filling when everything was done, because with this septic tank, it's going to be covered, right? You're not going to see that there's a septic tank when you walk into this compound. Everything is going to be under the ground, covered, and everything. You can park your car on it and all of that, right? It's going to be strong. So you'll be seeing that, in our coming episode, right? So, looking at the amount of sand we got here, it could be about 2 trucks, right? 2 trucks. And looking at the cost of the excavation, like renting the excavator, right? And the amount of sand we got, it will balance. So these are some of the ways to cut down costs in construction, right? So I'm happy that we got the sand needed for the landscaping, because that was also the next phase of this project. It was just to get the whole structure plastered and then do the landscaping nice, so that if you are from afar, you can see that this is a house, right? This is a house. You don't have to wait to finish everything before you start planning, the landscaping and all that. And it's also because we are in the rainy season, so that's why we were in a hurry to get this thing done, so that at least we can test it and be sure that it is safe, right? We need the rain to compact the soil. Once again, another way of cutting down cost, right? So what is happening here was the same day we did the digging, we actually have to get some masons to come on site because the ground was breaking. Every 30 minutes, the ground was just breaking in, right, towards the structure. And it was scary. It was scary actually to see that. So immediately, since the truck wasn't able to come closer, we have to fetch the stone from afar, and then we immediately have to do some concrete casting to already cast the ground, so that we just lay some block quickly and then just cover the hole, because you can see the distance, right? You can see from afar that it got close to the structure. It actually got close to the structure. So this is what happened the next day. When after the concrete casting, we came the next day, and then the whole thing fell. So you can see the foundation. You can even see the foundation from here. It was scary. It was just prayers and and hope, right? I mean, faith. So that's how it went. But I mean, God being on our side, everything was successful. We were able to get the concrete done. We didn't get the size that we needed, which was the 9 feet long. We were not able to get that, but we were able to get at least the 9 feet deep. And we were able to do the block work, which we will be seeing in our next episode, right? So stay tuned for the latest updates of the Pam project. So this is where the manhole was supposed to end, right? And you can see how it starts breaking in, and it's still breaking, man. You saw the cracks on the ground, and it was both by the side and side. I mean, it was just crazy, right? But then we have engineer coming to our rescue, and he just have to do some. We did some retaining walls, right, using wood. So with the help of IFO, and then Brother Sammy, that's what you see, the retaining wall, to just hold the more of the soil, right, or of the ground from falling, right? And I mean, that's how we're able to save the day. So then I think this brings us to the end of today's episode. I really do appreciate your time spent here on the channel. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in my next episode. Look, do we?